We'll DJ, we'll. You have to do the face. You have to do the scowl on your face. I'll never forget when I went to South Africa. You know, I was in South Africa not too long ago. And I met these beautiful South Africans. They told me, they took me out to this place called a Nyama something. And they were playing this South African music in the background. And one of the ladies looked at me and said, Simon, they call me Simon over there. Simon, when you're dancing to our music, you have to do the face, okay? You got to do the face. And I said to her, I said, could you show me how to do it? So she walked around and she stood in front of us on the dance floor and she began to do the face. Apparently, that's how you're supposed to do it. So anyway, I love South African music. Thank you, guys. Hello, everybody, wherever you're watching me from, whether you're from the Maldives, whether you're from Trinidad and Tobago, New Orleans, Louisiana, Plaquemine, Bossier City, Shreveport, Memphis, Tennessee, Tupelo, Mississippi, Accra, Ghana, Kwakasomo, Kuchinsali, Kutwapia, Kundola, Kukopala, Mweba Baku Livingston, Mweba Baku Monze, Mweba Baku Mongo, Mwebe na Chipata. Welcome to SML. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. That rhymes, apparently. It rhymes. Forgive my breathing into the mic. That's very annoying. Guys, there are two things I'd like to very briefly share with you. And here's the great thing about, I often say this, and I'm so glad I do, because it sort of lends to the idea of what I do here at Simoson and how I do this channel that I aptly call SML TV. The great thing about having your setup in your office, because this is where I work. I mean, what you're looking at is not a studio. This is actually my office. If you come to Simoson and you ask to see me, you will literally sit here in my office. So this is not a studio set, okay? The benefit of doing this is that anything that happens on social media, people in my position have the privilege, we have the honor to respond almost in real time. And I often say this to you, and I know that you know this to be true. And so this morning on my way to work, I picked up the newspaper and I saw on there a headline that I want to share with you. And of course, all of you know, you're familiar with this headline. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to throw it up here just so that you and I, and then later on, I'm going to open the phone lines and I'd like to hear from you. Of course, I'm going to give you my 2 cents worth. And then I'd like for you to sort of comment and tell me what you feel. tell me how you perceive this whole thing. First of all, let me begin by talking about Max Chongo. Now, in the Daily Nation, they have sort of misquoted his name. Ifatwa ishbati ni Max Chongo. More Daily Nation, badembeliati Max Chongo. I think ina abadufiania. Tell me in the comments below if the Zambia Daily Nation, because they say Max Chongo, but his name is Chongo. I think they said Chongo. Anyway, his name is Max Chongo. You remember Max. He's the PF loyalist. He's the Patriotic Front prodigal son of Mr. Michael Sata. Because when you listen to Max Chongo speak, that guy is a spitting image in terms of vocabulary, in terms of voice projection, in terms of the way he speaks. He is a spitting image of the late Michael Sata. You close your eyes, you can swear that is Michael Sata speaking. So Max Chongo is a protege of Vasata. Okay. Now, Max is known for many, many different things. First of all, he was known as, he did that Big Brother thing. He had that stint with Larato. I think her name was Larato over there on DSTV. He was part of the Big Brother house, and he gained a level of notoriety there. And then after that, he sort of evolved. He evolved into this political figure, and he became a PF kada. Now, on the street, he had to gain what's called street cred. So, on the street, he had to be tough. He had to become a don in a way. And he sort of gained his reputation by being this tough guy. And he spent some time in prison, and he's had some scuffles here and there. But as a way of rewarding him for his quote unquote loyalty, the Patriotic Front awarded him. And guys, I want you to see this. Max Chongo's, and this is what we're talking about. Max Chongo's 8.9 million kwacha contract has been exposed. Now, you remember during the time of the notorious Patriotic Front, during the regime of the PF, during the dispensation of this brutal party that did everything within its power to rape this nation of not only our dignity, but our resources. During the PF, these boys, and I call them boys because they're much younger than I am. So we can call them boys, it's okay. Kauchari, it's okay. These boys were seen on social media, many like him, and including Max himself. They were seen on social media parading beautiful palatial homes. They were living in the lap of luxury. Max in particular, he gave us a tour of one of his homes. And here, let me just double make sure here that we're clear. He gave us a tour of one of his homes, and he splashed this on social media, walking around the house with a glass of Chardonnay. Was it Chardonnay? It could have been Chardonnay. I mean, who knows? Who's to know? Who's to say what it was? It was an alcoholic beverage. He was walking through the home, talking about how he was living the life. Now, guys, let me make a side note here and say it's been my experience, my observation, more accurately. It's been my observation that people that have what's known as old money, okay, not new money, old money. Old money is money that is traceable, money that has a genesis, money that has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has a projected continuum. That's called old money. My observation is that people that have old money, which is authentic money, money that is traceable, money that you can see, that's old traceable money. People with old money never boast. That's my experience and my observation. I want to say that again because I think that's very important. People that have traceable, legitimate money do not go on social media and start parading their money. When was the last time you saw Mark Zuckerberg flaunting his money? When was the last time you saw Tyler Perry flaunting his money? I mean, flaunting. You know what flaunting is? Flaunting means, you take the money, you sit in front of some place, and then you say, impiesh, impieshanti. This is the amount of money that I've made. People with traceable money very seldom flaunt it. But here it is, Abena Max Chongo. These guys used to flaunt all this money. And now, with the change of regime, we are now observing headlines like this. Max Chongo's 8.9 million kwacha contract exposed. Now, let's ask the question, why was he given 8.9 million kwacha? What sort of contract was he given? Well, here it is. I'll throw it up for you. The contract was for the supply of disposable surgical and K995 face masks by the previous government, the notorious Patriotic Front. Now, let's keep in mind that during the pandemic, during the COVID-19 fiasco, we had many different countries that donated multiplicity of multitudinous tens of millions of kwacha towards this effort at staving off and sort of pushing against the wall of COVID-19. We had foundations like Jack Ma. Jack Ma donated more than 100,000 surgical masks. Many different companies, many different countries did the same thing. But during the PF, very seldom did we know or were we told about the traceable trajectory of these donations. All we did was we heard about them. There was no roadmap. It was just on paper and videotape. Oh, vane uku vatupera chite. Vatupera 100,000 masks. But then we didn't know how those masks were distributed, which then begs the question, if you're going to award people that have no background, no traceable background in the area of the supply of surgical masks to Max Chongo, and then you put an 8.9 million kwacha price tag on it, do you not think that raises eyebrows? Do you not think that raises a multiplicity of multitudinous tens of questions? Is it any wonder that the Attorney General turns around and says, Max, we're going to have to freeze your bank accounts, something that would never happen during the PF. We're going to have to seize some of your properties because the way these contracts were given is questionable. Not only contracts, but look at the magnitude of the contracts. This is the reason, my brothers and sisters, that people like Max Chongo can have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to flaunt their wealth, ill-gotten gain on social media and say they are living the life of luxury. They're living in the lap of luxury at the expense and on the backbone of the Zambian John Q taxpayer. That's you and me. Now, guys, again, there's nothing wrong, I don't think. And of course, that's a hard G at the end of that word. There's nothing wrong with gaining contracts as a direct consequence of your proximity to the government. But there's everything wrong when you have such exorbitant amounts of money, 8.9 million and then against the backdrop of multiple countries, people like Jack Ma donating millions of kwacha towards the effort, fighting against COVID-19, and something that nobody ever talks about. So it's not strange for us to ask, where the heck did you get this kind of money from? And what did you do with this money? Let me hasten to add And you must know this, and it's only fair for me to bring this up, to say it this way. Let me hasten to add. I'm sorry, my picture's gone blurry. The internet's gone nuts. But as long as you can hear me, we're fine. Let me hasten to add that the same vices that plagued the notorious Patriotic Front, the same exact vices that plagued the PF, are the same vices that potentially could plague the UPND. There are people in the UPND that will find themselves in the same position that Max is in now. If you don't learn the lesson, history repeats itself. And of course, we do have a president, in my view, that is trying to do right by this country. We have a president that's doing everything within his power to make this nation better than what he found. I'm confident of that. I believe in that. I know that that's where his heart is. But then, of course, down the line, the hierarchy below him, not everybody in there has the same mindset as the president. Of course, not to suggest that the president is perfect. My point is this: the same challenges that Max Chongo is going through, Imweba UPND, if you are not careful, you are going to find yourselves in the same boat. So this is a cautionary tale. Are you hearing this? What's happening to Max Chongo now is a cautionary tale. It should be a cautionary tale for those of you in government, those of you in office. You are there to serve the people. Yes, survive, but don't survive at the expense of the Zambian people. Don't survive on the back of Mr. and Mrs. John Q. taxpayer. Don't do that. If you do that, it's going to come out and we shall sock you, honey. So go out there and do your bit. Your time to serve is now. Serve now. Serve. Of course, do what you need to do, and you know how to do that. But don't kill the nation. Don't do that. You're there to serve. And I often say this, and we often hear this. If you be a billionaire, don't do it on the back of government. Don't do that. Don't. If you want to be a billionaire, go into private business. Don't go in government to be a billionaire. That's not how it works. And if you think that's how it works, your name is going to be attached to numbers like this. Okay? Are we clear on that? Are we clear on that? Okay. So I'm going to open the phone lines in a few minutes, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what you think about this contract and what you think should be done here. Is this justifiable? Do you think it's justifiable to freeze Max Chongo's accounts? Okay, because that's what the Drug Enforcement Commission has done. They have frozen his bank accounts. They have seized multiple properties. And guys, the other thing, and I'm going to say something to you guys. I'm going to say something to you. Okay, give me a second, because I want to say this right. I don't want to mess it up. Have you noticed the people that are in trouble are the people that showed off a lot? But there are people in the PF, and some of them I know, dead quiet. Even during the time of the NPF, they never used to talk. They never flaunted their money. They never flaunted their wealth. If they did get wealth, if whether or not they got that legitimately or illegitimately, I don't know. But I know this: there are people that are the people of means that did not flaunt and make a big deal out of their wealth. There are many. I can count them on my two fingers. I can count two people right now that were in the NPF. They were silent. They were quiet. Today, nobody goes after them unless somebody reports them, if in fact there was something there. But my point is, the people that made the loudest noise in terms of showing off and flaunting, those are the ones that the DEC are after. So what's the lesson there? Sometimes just keep quiet. Just sit down and keep quiet. If you did do something wrong, the law will ultimately catch up to you. But the point is, sometimes just keep your mouth shut. Boom. Can we say that? Are we allowed to say that here on Facebook? Can we say that? All right. Last thing I want to say, I noticed, I'm going to open the phone lines here in a second. I was watching Mr. Harry Kalaba's Facebook page. I was a little disappointed that Kalaba would highlight, there's this video. There's a video of a young boy. He's talking about how, he has to now begin to lie to protect his life. He says, so the best is and then he lists a line of things that are untrue. And then he sort of attributes that to the current administration. What offended me was that a man of Mr. Harry Kalaba's stature would highlight that video and say, this cracked me up. Kalaba, right now, your party is under siege. There is an implosion. There is an impending implosion that threatens the livelihood of your political party and your political survival. And you're out here making jokes. I caution you, sir. Take care of your house. Take care of your political house. Don't go on social media making such jokes. If I were you, I would be preoccupied with holding your party together. Because let me tell you, over the next several months, your political party is going to fall apart at the seams. And you have to grab a hold of that thing. You have to make sure that you put the glue around that thing so that it doesn't disintegrate. So don't go on social media and making jokes about something instead of, concentrating on holding the party together. Okay. That's what I wanted to say about that. Are you guys ready to call me? Are you going to call me or not? Tell me in the comments below. Are you going to call me? Zulu says, Kalaba is younger than you. Don't call him sir. Well, he is younger than me, but he's the president of a political party, And he's way smarter than I am. I'll tell you that. All right. Okay. So I'm going to throw my my number up here. And please, guys, only call me on WhatsApp. Only WhatsApp. And I'd like to hear your opinion on these two things, especially the issue of Max Chongo. The question is it justifiable for DEC to seize Max Chongo's property as well as freeze his bank accounts? Tell me in the comments below, or give me a call, and we're going to be on the phone. We're going to be on the phone lines for let's say 15 minutes. How's that? Can we do that for 15 minutes? Is that okay? I'm going to throw my number up on here, and if I can find it, maybe. There it is. Boom. There it is. Are we clear now? Is the live feed clear now? Thank you so much. Bless you. So while I'm waiting for you to call, I have to play one of my favorite songs. So give me a call on that number. Okay? And I'd like to hear what you have to say. All right, here we go. Are we on? We're on. I still got the ringtone thing going. Hello.
Hello, how are you going?
Very well, thank you. You're loud and clear. Who are you and where are you calling from?
My name is Patrick, and I'm calling from Adelaide, South Australia.
South Australia?
Yes.
Fantastic. You're Zambian?
I'm in the comment section down there. Patrick Luyando.
Oh, Patrick, wonderful. My dear friend, Elias Munsha, you're getting a brand new ambassador there who's a very competent man.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to see him. So I'll probably go and pay him a visit.
You should.
In a couple weeks or something once he arrives. Yeah, 100%.
Wonderful. Go ahead, son.
Yeah, I think it just shows how much the PF were really rotten to the core. I mean, Maxwell Chungu or Maxwell Chongo, whatever his name is, he had no background of any health background whatsoever if it comes to either supplying, anything health related. So I don't know why they would award, such a huge, huge contract to somebody that had no background whatsoever in health. I think it just shows how, corrupt and just how rotten to the core the PF was. And I think it saddens me to see that, Zambians have swept that under the rugs and nobody really talks about it. I mean, there's so much money that was obviously looted, misappropriated, but it's like we just, we have this mindset and this mentality where we're just like, it's okay. We're seeing Vinachiteka, but what can we do? But I think there's a lot we can do. We can still talk about it. Yes, the PF are not in power now, but we can still, voice how we really feel, and we can still, let the powers that be know that we're actually, not satisfied with how things are moving. And I think it would be in our best interest to recover as much money as we can, because this is so disappointing. And I think it's a wake up call for this current administration, as you said. I think we have a new mindset now. We have a new type of leadership. We shouldn't be doing things that we would do in the past. This staggerish type of regime, where you basically just dictate people how they should live their lives. I think we have a really good thing here. And a lot of Zambians are not realizing at the moment, because the PF is obviously drowning out their voices. We're posting all these stories on social media, and a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and saying this administration has failed. I mean, they've only been in power for less than a year. And this whole notion of people complaining, Wakangiwa, Onani, Chakangiwa. I mean, things are tough in Zambia, but things are tough everywhere.
That's right.
Things are literally tough everywhere. And it saddens me to see these opposition leaders who are using this to their advantage and saying, the current administration has failed, fuel is expensive, the standard of living, everything is expensive everywhere. And I always tell people this now. I'm like, imagine if we had the PF in power right now.
Oh my goodness.
Literally all the world economies are literally destabilized. I mean, it's the same in Australia. Fuel is so expensive. Food shopping is so expensive. Everything is literally expensive. Obviously, it hurts more in Zambia because we're a developing country. But guys, it's literally hard everywhere. Why can't people understand this?
I agree. Wonderful contribution.
It saddens my heart.
Absolutely. Son, thank you so much for that. And I appreciate it. Stay safe out there in Australia.
I will.
And thanks for watching, son. God bless.
You. Yeah.
Cheers.
All the time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I must let me tell you something that I've often said on this show, and I hope you don't misunderstand me, because on social media it's very easy to be misunderstood. Do you realize that had the PF managed to rig the elections, and had we been going through this economic crisis under a rigged PF presidency, do you know that there would have been a coup in this country? Did you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that had the PF managed to rig the 2021 elections, and then we would have been going through this economic crisis under a PF presidency, do you know that there would have been a coup in this country? Do you know that? Well, if you don't know that, you should. If you don't know, now you know. Please call me on this number if you can. Give me your opinion. That was a call from Australia. And incidentally, I hear that Australia is the farthest place you can ever travel to. I know China is up there as well. I mean, I've been to a trip to China, a 15-hour flight to China, but I hear that Australia is one of the farthest places you can go on the planet. So give me a call on that number, guys. Let me know what you think. We've just received a telephone call from Australia, a young man from there, and I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. But in the meantime, I'm going to play this for you. Please call me. Call me only on WhatsApp, okay? Sorry, I can't get enough of this song. Who's that calling me? Somebody calling me. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to you. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Nasilele.
Nasilele, you are loud and clear. Go ahead, sister.
Okay. It's funny to hear you call me sister, and I'm always calling you uncle in the comments.
Okay. You're Nasilele who?
Mukela.
Mukela. I think I've seen that name. I have.
Yes, I'm half Bemba, so you remind me of my granny all the time.
Really? Your grandfather or your grandmother?
My grandma. She has these Bemba terms which you are always using.
Oh, is that right?
Crack up.
Really? Well, I'm glad to hear that. Go ahead, Nasilele.
All right. You had asked a question to say, is the ACC justified in seizing Max? I don't know. Shishi beneshna kwanga ni Chongo nga ni shishi.
Ni Chongo. Ero ni va DEC, va Drug Enforcement Commission.
Oh, va DEC. Okay. So I don't understand one thing, the jurisdiction of drug enforcement and the jurisdiction of anti-corruption commission. So I would appreciate if maybe that was cleared up. Because I was under the impression that drug enforcement is in line with drugs.
That's a very good question.
And anti-corruption, yes.
That's a very
yes.
And
some guidance would be appreciated.
And I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question to ask, and I will ask the relevant authorities, and I'm sure they'll tell us. But that's a very good query.
Thank you so much. So for them to seize those properties, not to go to the question you asked, I'd like to believe that they are. They must have done some investigations. The only frustration which comes out is when the case is dismissed on technicality. So I hope they've done all their groundwork.
Hello?
Hello? Are you there? My network, I'm sorry.
No, we can hear you loud and clear. You're perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I was saying that they are justified. If at all it's within their jurisdiction, then they are justified. If it's outside their jurisdiction, anyway, I don't know. But I hope that they've done all their groundwork. We don't want a case dismissed on a technicality. May we please have the communication churned out so that the public is informed at every case, because sometimes there's a breakdown in communication between the authority which is in charge of a case which they've made public, and then they just freeze us out and we don't know where to go. There's nothing on their social media platforms. There's no one talking to us. So could they please maintain the lines of communication? Could they churn out the communication so that we're abreast with everything going on where this case is concerned? Because 8.9 million is a lot of money. Did he acquire the contract illegally? Who approved this contract? Who else, whose head is on the chopping block for approving this contract if it was approved illegally? Because it won't just stop at Max. Who did this? Max received, he must have followed the procedure for him to get the money. So who signed off on that?
Very important questions.
Criteria? Could they please tell us the who, the what, the where, the when?
And just to add to that, Nasilele, to be clear,
yes, sir.
The story is that these were multiple contracts that amounted to this figure, which is 8.9. It wasn't a single contract. It was several different contracts amounting to this. Now, which again raises eyebrows. How does one person get multiple contracts that accumulate to this astronomical amount of money?
To the exclusion of others. Other people, this should have been fair for all citizens. Why just him who's connected to the party which was in government at the time?
Yeah.
And you were laughing about how he would flaunt his wealth, and I was commenting to say, money doesn't change us. It reveals who we are.
Yes.
And new money, nouveau riche is always trying to show us like we've arrived, and we're looking at them like, okay, no one was waiting for you.
Nesilele, you're so right. Thank you so much, my dear. Are you calling from Lusaka?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Nesilele, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Bye. Very valid point there, and I must tell you, it really raises all these questions. Let me also add that and Nesilele brought it up, and I'll augment the point. The DEC and the ACC are woefully underfunded. They are underfunded. They are overwhelmed. They are understaffed. And it's a miracle. It is an absolute miracle that they even do the work that they do now. Do you know that? Ngapali bama entities muno mu Zambia yaba woefully inadequately funded, inadequately staffed, inadequately equipped. Niba ACC, naba DEC. If we are to have these entities functioning and firing on all cylinders, it is up to the administration to fund, to equip these entities as best as they can. But as long as it's always just, no, Imova DEC, can you please do your job? Just do the work. I'll never forget, during the NPF, Balungu, by his own admission, and this is a very famous video clip. Everybody knows this video clip. Balungu came and said, it has come to my, please forgive me, I don't do a very good impersonation of President Lungu. I try Bakaunda, but I'm not able to do about President Lungu. But basically he said, it's come to my attention that a number of my ministers are engaged in corrupt activities, but I'm urging the relevant authorities, I'm urging them, do your work, investigate, knowing full well that Nangwale Randefio, by DEC, na by ACC, underfunded, under-equipped. Hello, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I can.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, this is Ian Kanini. I'm calling from Perth.
In Australia.
Yeah, I'm watching you live.
Thank you. How's Australia today?
Very good.
Wonderful. Please.
A little bit cold and yeah.
Wonderful. Go ahead, sir.
Fluctuating weather. Yeah, it's actually appalling. You know, when you've lived like in the diaspora for a long time, it's appalling to see the levels of criminal activities in Zambia, especially where corruption is concerned. And I think it's a blessing that we've got a new government in place, which is actually taking corruption seriously. Everybody in Australia is asking about how would you halve your inflation, you know, in such a short period of time? It's all about having prudent economic management, less corruption, and really taking care of the resources. However, the power of we can't do back home. The only thing they do is they do the right things at the right time. So I think the fight against corruption needs to be stepped up a little bit. But then I agree with you that these guys are underfunded. We need to pump in as much money as you can. Here in Australia, the government, I used to work for the Department of Justice. The government doesn't mind spending $1 million for a credit card fraud for $300. We have to set an example if we have to run a government. And that's the only way you can run a government. We have to be prudent. We have to be serious about it. And there should be no lame ducks, you know? Take off all the gloves. It doesn't matter who you are, which tribe you come from. It's actually laughable when you read about so many people saying crime, the fight against corruption is against some certain people, against a certain tribe. It's actually an insult to our intelligence. So I want to concur with you, and great program, by the way. I'm a
Thank
keen follower of you. I'm always following you, and you're doing a good job.
Well, thank
We
you.
have an obligation as Zambians, each one of us, to make a contribution. That is the way America was created.
That's right.
That is the way they built all these developed countries. Everybody must contribute, whether it's a small word you're putting on, whether you're contributing 5 kwacha, whether you're contributing by 10 but to pick up litter, everybody must contribute. And that's the only way we're going to make this country better. I'm really looking forward to having an early retirement, believe it or not, and come and settle in Zambia and put my contribution to my country.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to having you back home. And God bless you. Stay blessed over there.
Thank you very much. I'll pay you a visit when I'm home next time.
Please do. Please do. You're welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you. Guys, it's 40 minutes. Thank you so much for listening. And God bless you. Stay well. And we'll talk. Well, one more call. We'll do one more. Hello. Megan, is that you? It's my dear friend Megan. I think that was Megan Fox Gomez, you know. Hello. Can you hear me? Hey there. There's a bit of a hello, I can hear you.
Yes.
There's a bit of a delay.
Okay. I wanted to contribute as well.
Please go ahead. Where are you calling us from?
Can you get me?
I can hear you. Okay. Oh, it's trying to reconnect. Anyway. All right, guys, thank you for watching. God bless. Oh, is there a call there? Let's do one more. That might be Megan, you know. All right, let's just wait for one more phone call and then we can shut it down, okay? Can we do that? All right, here it is. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Mo.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you get me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to also contribute on this same matter.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you're able to get me, but I feel it is for the SEC to seize the properties and freeze their account. Because can you get me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. For these properties, because you know it is so surprising how the politicians in the previous government, how you just from nowhere used to get rich from nowhere. You know, like you find this person who's coming from a mere society where everything runs normal, but in the course of 3 to 4, 5 months, you find out that they've got a lot of properties. It was showing us how corrupt these people were. So I kind of side with the SEC because the previous government had a lot of corrupt politicians. So it is a good thing. And then one more thing I would really love to out is even this government that we have currently, they should look forward in making sure that they put in more manpower in the SEC and they should let it work independently. Not the government should not have a say.
Yes, I agree with that. I think we lost him, but I pretty much got the gist of what he's saying. I think we might have lost him. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless you, and we'll talk to you again.